All right, here we are back with another video. It's been quite a long time since I made one, and the only reason I'm doing this one today is because for my buddy Red, we, and we're gonna do a sliding block. How to properly solo a sliding block, and I just say this because I remember watching on his stream a couple of times, and we were in a task force together. I was always complaining about how he did sliding block. So we come across this one that I did last night in the 5-man. A 190 sliding block. So we're going to talk about the proper way to do a left side sliding block solo. Okay, let's get into it. First things first. Always on the sliding block, it's either going to be a AZ or a 17HZ loadout. And what determines this is the health on these rockets. Whenever you have a three rocket sliding block. No, that's not showing me the health. But the health on these rockets were around like 50,000, I think, somewhere in that neighborhood. Now, whenever they're above 40,000 HP, we're going to take a boat of heavies, and like I did here, and you'll see why in a moment. But if they're less than 40K, down in like mid 30s, 35, 36 or less, then we can do it with AZ and no heavies. Okay, so the first things first is this corner rocket is going to be boarded. Always during your scouting, go ahead and calculate out how many barrages you need and how many arts, so you can do this on the fly. You don't, on these timed attacks, you need to get your troops moving. You don't need to have troops sitting in your landing crafts while you're barding stuff and arting and clearing mines. Get your troops unloaded and then do your BART. Save time, because you can run out of time on this attack. So you always check the range until you get to know it by heart. This rocket's going to be barded. Now I think I calculated, like for instance this one, I know I'm going to throw 3 barrages and 3 arts. And if it don't fall then, it's going to take no more than 1 more art. It just depends on how well my barrages do. Because as you know, your barrages, you don't get 100% of the barrage damage on these 3x3 defenses. And we'll eat some cells on the beach. And we'll clear these 6 mines over here on the left. Because what the play is after we eat some cells, we are going to flare up to this corner that you see right here behind the rocket with our troops. And as our troops are preparing to, before our troops come out of smoke, we're going to throw 1 critter over here on this power cell. Let me make a mark on it here. We're going to throw, and we want it to land about the same time our troops are coming out of the smoke. We want to land a critter on this power cell and 2 critters on this rocket. Now, what's going to happen when you do this is that lower rocket, that lower rocket is going to pay attention to your critters on that power cell instead of your troops up here in the top corner, on the left corner. So that rocket will concentrate its fire on those critters while your 2 critters are eating away that rocket. So you don't have to use a shock. What I see and what I don't like is whenever you see people, you use 1 shock to shock all of these center defenses, and they'll use another shock for this rocket over here. And you have to do that multiple times, and that uses a lot of shocks. But we don't do that. We're just going to use 1 shock to shock the center defenses. Okay, let me start this over with, and we'll watch it kind of live and explain as we go. So the first thing I'm going to do, like I said, I calculated how much BART I need, is get troops moving. Get your troops moving, then throw your BART. Flare the troops over under the power cells so all your Zookers don't run into the mines. And while they're eating some GBE, clear those mines. And whenever the heavies get in range, the rockets will start firing on the heavies, and that's whenever you know it's time to regroup and head up before you lose Zookas. So the rocket just saw my heavies, throw a smoke, get under it over here in the corner. Flare up to that corner, make sure you get your smokes out in time. Don't smoke all the way to the flare. Leave a smoke short so they walk out of smoke. And you see here, there goes the critters and a shock for the center defenses. Now that lower rocket's going to pay attention to those right critters. Now as soon as that rocket right there falls, we flare this lower, that right rocket. You see me flare right now. Now what this does is when these critters die, that rocket will target those heavies and not my Zookas like it is right now. And now that rocket's gone. And now just keep the center defenses shocked. Don't be late on a shock. And now you have about 100, well, you have 91 Zookas left over. This map is pretty much dead. So we're going to speed it up while we eat this and watch the rush. Now this is where I flare over here. This is pretty much always going to be your kill spot with this method. Get your smokes out early. And it's done. Now, the only thing that changes this attack is, for me at least, for the most part, is the health on those rockets. Whenever those rockets are lower health, like I said, when they're less than 40, when they're less than 40, this rocket, those two critters will eat through this rocket before it destroys the critters up here on your power cell. So you don't need the heavies. Whenever it's higher health like this one, 40k and above, we'll use the boat of heavies because the rocket will go eat through these critters before these two critters kill it. So when it's above 40k, load a boat of heavies. When it's less, you can go AZ because your two critters that you throw in the rocket will eat through it before it eats through the power cell. But what's important to make sure all this happens is that you throw them at the same time. You throw your critter, you go power cell, rocket, rocket. You get your critters out at the same time and you get these center defenses shocked. So only this rocket is firing at the critters. You don't want all of these defenses firing at the critters. So you time it where you toss your critters when you're about to come out of smoke, so they land about the same time you're coming out of smoke and shock those center defenses. And that ensures that your critters will kill this rocket before it kills any of your girls. And now it's important to, once this rocket falls, to immediately flare this rocket so you can get those heavies out in front and get that separation. So when this rocket starts firing, when it eats through the critters and starts firing, that is not hitting Zookas, it's hitting heavies. And that's how you properly solo a sliding block, left side sliding block with the 3 rockets. Have a good day.